What's up guys, and welcome to another episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Character Profiles. This week we're doing Kalin Kessler. So in the English version he's known as Kalin Kessler. In the Japanese it translates to Kyosuke Kiryu. He's about 23 years old and his anime debut was in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's episode 27, A Web of Deceit Part 1. And here are all the duels that he's played in, his win-loss ratio, and there is his duel score. So yeah, very nice Kalin. Quick gist on the character. Kalin Kessler was a member of the Dark Signers and is currently a resident of Satisfaction Town. During his time as a Dark Signer, Kalin wore the black robe of the Dark Signers. His dark mark was that of the Giant, and he had an extreme hatred towards Yusei Fudo and his previous team, the Enforcers, but he later forgives them after finding out the truth from his loss to Yusei. Originally, Kalin started as a cheerful and good person, looking out for his teammates and giving hope to them. But after his team conquered the entire city of Satellite, Kalin became obsessed with protecting what they had worked so hard to obtain, growing paranoid into believing that any duel gang not under his control were a threat to the order they brought. This caused him to begin dueling people recklessly, including kids, and harming them in the process, which eventually led to him challenging the city's security, causing his downfall. As a Dark Signer, his personality had become more crazed, bursting out into insane laughter at his opponents' and enemies' misery and pain. He also showed great hatred towards his former teammates Jack Atlas and Crow Hogan, and especially to Yusei Fudo, to whom he would call a traitor and exclaim, "You betrayed me." After his death and revival, he came to realise that all his pain came from his own mistakes. Regretting what he had done in the past and depressed and guilty, he ventured to Crash Town, looking for a place to die, uncaring of what befalls him. His method of dueling shows that his monster's effects act like Russian roulette. But after seeing Yusei and the kids, West and Nico, attempting to save him, Kalin regained his self-worth and kindness as he vowed to protect them and all the citizens of Crash Town. When he was a Dark Signer, Kalin was able to project his Earthbound Immortal into fog as a purple image, which also caused Yusei's mark to react. Even after being revived as a normal person again, he was still able to inflict real damage to an extent, as his Infernity Des gunman's attack was strong enough to fully knock out Lawton. Kalin was once the leader of the Enforcers, Team Satisfaction in the original version, consisting of himself, Yusei Fudo, Crow Hogan, and Jack Atlas. He fought for his own ideals and unique sense of unity and gave his team a true glimpse of hope under the despairing circumstances of Satellite. The team managed to conquer all the team areas in Satellite, and during the face-off with the final gang, one of them almost kills Yusei by pushing him off a roof, but Kalin saves him. Finally, after conquering all the zones, Kalin got into a fight with a kid from Team Insect, something that prompted Crow and Jack to go against Kalin and leave the team. Later, when Sector Security began arresting duelists in Satellite, Kalin decided to take action into his own hands and blow up a part of Security Base, which he seemed happy to do. At this point, Yusei decides to leave as well. The abandonment felt at the Enforcers' dissolution caused Kalin to become obsessed with ruling Satellite forever, and reuniting his group for their last duel against Security. He is eventually pursued by Security until his former teammates come to his rescue. Kalin confronts a security guard and a duel runner and ends up driving through a bunch of crates, severely injuring the guard. Before he could finish him off, Yusei interfered. Yusei decided to call himself the leader of the Enforcers in hopes that they would arrest himself rather than Kalin. But Security found Kalin and arrested him instead. Kalin sees Yusei trying to convince Security to let Kalin go, and he mistakenly believes that Yusei had him arrested purposely. In the facility, Kalin was painfully imprinted with a criminal mark, and the prison guards constantly beat him up and intentionally withheld his food rations. Although he claimed that he could survive the abuse, his resistance was very weakened when Security took his deck, which was his most prized possession. After that, Kalin is seen in a cell near death from starvation, when a voice spoke to him. It calls itself an envoy from the underworld who came with a proposition. If Kalin has some sort of unfinished business that he could come back to complete as a Dark Signer, because of his grudge against Yusei and his wish to fight the last battle with Team Satisfaction, Kalin accepts. After that, he finally dies and knowingly comes back. Kalin's deck is an Infernity Turbo deck centered around his 100 Eyes Dragon. He uses cards such as Depth Amulet and Limit Impulse to reduce his hand size whilst also filling his graveyard with his Infernity monsters, which he then copies the effects of with his 100 Eyes Dragon. If this strategy fails, Kalin uses the effect of his 100 Eyes Dragon to add his Earthbound Immortal Kabaku Apu from his deck to his hand, which he then easily summons through cards such as Infernity Necromancer and Damage Translation. He also supports it with cards like Brilliant Shrine Art and Wicked Trample to lock down his opponent and inflict large amounts of damage. And with that, guys, that is done. Our episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Character Profiles done. Don't forget to leave a like, favorite, and subscribe, and tell me who you think you'd like to see next time. Yeah, so there you go.